I want you to think about the man in your life for a second. Your dad, your brother, your mates from school, from work, from church, the guys you grew up with. Now ask yourself honestly, how many of those men do you actually know? Not know of, not follow on Instagram, not catch up with twice a year over a beer. Actually know. Know what's keeping them up at night, know what they're afraid of, know what they're carrying. For most men, that list is very short or it's empty. In 1990, 3% of American men said they had 0 close friends. By 2021, that number had risen to 15%. That's a 5-fold increase in one generation. One generation. And those aren't just numbers, that's men walking through life with no one who actually knows them. No one to call when things fall apart. No one to check in when they go quiet. And here's the thing. Most of these men don't think of themselves as lonely. They're busy, they're working, they've got their wife, their kids, their routine. But there's no one in their life who actually knows what's going on inside. No one who can be fully honest with them. And most of them have convinced themselves that that's just what being a man looks like. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, because isolation doesn't always look like a man alone in a dark room. A lot of the time it looks completely normal from the outside, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Today we're talking about the dangers of isolation, why men go quiet when life gets hard, how that instinct gets dressed up and sold as strength, and what real community actually looks like for a man who's willing to build it. So let's get to work.
One Rep Max exists because men were not created to be passive, silent, or soft. We believe masculinity is disciplined, responsible, sacrificial. It's the willingness to carry the load when no one else wants to. Dig the trenches even though you're dead tired. Protect and provide for the ones that you love. We reject comfort as a goal and weakness as virtue. We believe men are called to lead their homes, master themselves, tell the truth and carry weight. This podcast is not for spectators, it's for men willing to train spiritually, physically, and morally until strength becomes instinct. When pressure hits, when you're down and out, when you can't do it anymore, who you are shows up. This is your One Rep Max. Love it. What I was about to say chapter 11. What the heck?
Chapter 11?
Episode 11.
Let's just start calling them chapters, bro.
Chapter 11 of my life, bro.
Yeah.
Welcome back to episode 11 of the One Rep Max podcast.
Yes.
Full of energy today.
Let's go.
I didn't have to do too much after work, so got to have a bit of a cruisy day.
That's awesome.
Now I'm feeling pumped to be on the episode, having a chat. How's your week been?
Yeah, week's been pretty good, bro. Not too bad at all. A lot of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been busy. It's been a bit of a blur, actually. But no, keeping my head above water and getting stuff done. So that's good. Mm.
I don't often listen back to our podcast, but I wanted to tell you, as we were talking earlier, but I listened back to our episode on the Manosphere.
Yeah.
And I was laughing to myself about a part I was talking about, like comparing Pastor Kim to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I was listening to it, I was like, man, this guy has no idea what he's talking about right now. trying to compare, because I'm not big on politics at all.
Yeah.
So I know very little about it, but I was kind of just thinking, like, who's a really good leader and who do I see as someone who's a bit troublesome in the world?
Yeah, yeah.
And Trump was the first person that came to mind. But then he went and said Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Yeah, and then we got
was it Kim Jong-Anthony?
Yeah.
That was funny. I just wanted to address the fact that I'm not political at all, but I was trying to make a comparison that flopped, but I left it on the podcast anyways.
Oh, good on you. Yeah, well, no, that's good, bro. Yeah, I remember that. Kim Jong-Anthony. Do you reckon that'll catch on, or?
Not at all. I don't think so. But I did want to bring up the fact, like, did you watch State of Origin last night?
Yeah.
What do you reckon about Kalen Ponga getting sent off instead of a sin bin?
Well, I think it was surprising.
Yeah.
It was a surprising call. A lot of controversy around it. It's a lot of I go full conspiracy theorist when stuff like that happens, because it's like, oh, they it's in Sydney. They obviously don't want Queensland to win because Queensland will win when they go up to Queensland. They want to put it to like a decider so they get more interest, more money, and that's where my mind goes. And it's like, oh, but then you're like, Ashley Klein, he makes some dodgy decisions all the time, and it's like, if that was the case, I was just thinking about this. If that was the case, surely the bunker would be in on it as well. Like, and he's arguing with the bunker. Like, he's like, no, but I don't know. I just, I don't know.
Sorry, do you know an interesting fact about that though?
Yeah,
is there's been 46 state of origin series, and that entire time there's only been 6 send-offs, and Ashley Klein is responsible for 4 of them.
Really?
Yeah, I heard
so
that.
So Suaalii was the last one.
Yeah,
that I remember.
So I can't tell you all of them, but I heard it on I think it was Joey Johns or someone was talking about it today, and I was watching it on YouTube. And man, what a way to I guess tighten up a really good game by Queensland, because they were gonna roll them.
Yeah,
for sure.
100%.
Kennepong was on a roll, and then because Dee goes for New South Wales, and I'm born in New Zealand. She's born in New South Wales, obviously, and then so I go for Queensland because I live here.
Yeah.
So her and I, while the kids were asleep, were like hitting each other, going and then like right down to the last minute, just before Tedesco got their try, she's jabbing me. He's like, yeah, we got it. So this is a bit like friendly competition in the household.
I saw it coming. I was just like, they were. When Ponga got sent off, the game just opened up for New South Wales so much. Like they were making I don't know how many line breaks they made before that, but it wasn't many. They would have made more line breaks in the last 20 minutes than they made for like the previous 60. You know what I mean? Yeah. And and then all the tries, like the defense was actually pretty good. Like all the tries was scored off kicks, apart from those New South Wales couple ones at the end there. And I think that it's something that people take a bit too seriously, you know what I mean? It's like all I'm hearing about now, and it's funny, like you saying like you and Dee were sort of like punching each other, like hitting each other, like in a playful manner. But the reality of it is that on State of Origin nights you get a spike in domestic violence stats as well. Did you know that?
Well, I presume. Well, I guess the case would be like a lot of alcohol consumption.
And
just like
people getting fully invested in it and stuff like that.
I think before I really developed myself and got this relationship with God and stuff and built that spiritual foundation, I was the type of person that I wouldn't get angry, but I think I'd allow, 17 or was that 34 millionaires on a field to dictate how I feel. Yeah. 2 different teams. If the Warriors lost, that would dictate how I feel throughout the entire week. Now, I enjoy the game and I love it, but as soon as the game's over, my mind just switches back off into whatever I've got to do. But there was a time there where I kind of could see it became like a bit of an unhealthy obsession. And I'm actually a part of a couple of group chats with some friends from New Zealand that, we've been friends since high school. We don't really catch up much, but every time State of Origin comes around, there's this bit of banter on the chat. Yeah. And the same people will get so upset, and they just don't talk for a little while. But it's crazy when times like this, when we've got these big sporting events. It's a time where men generally get together, have a drink and whatever, and that ties really well into what we're talking about today with the loneliness of men and the isolation, and sometimes maybe these events are some of the only times they might gather with other people, have barbecues and whatnot, but then wouldn't necessarily see anybody after that for quite some time.
Yeah, and it's really funny because it's just like, that's really dangerous for men. It's dangerous for any human being, male, female, whatever, old, young. But the fact is, I think it comes more natural to women to be more vulnerable, to share about what's going on in their life, to be more social, to catch up. Whereas it's just as important for men to do those things too, but it's not something that we're told that we need to do, or it's not something that we've been told that is particularly important for us, when it actually is. I mean, I read out one statistic about 15% of men say that they don't have even one close friend. And there's some other statistics around isolation and lack of good community. Is I think it goes something like this: it's just as harmful to your health as smoking a packet of cigarettes a day, and we know how harmful that can be for your life expectancy and all-cause mortality and things like that. But I think people underestimate how big of an effect this has on you and your mental state. And I've, my journey and your journey and things like that, and I've gone from a place where I'm a fairly introverted character. I love spending time by myself. I love that. That's where I recharge. And until I started being more intentional about actually going to men's group and going to church and being more intentional about digging deeper with people and sharing, that's when I realized and I wasn't particularly in a bad mental state when I started doing that. But I did actually notice a huge difference. I was like, this is really good. This is really good for me. And this podcast, sitting and talking to you every 2 weeks, it's like, we said it from the start, it's so good for our mental health to be able to do stuff like this.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. So we're born social creatures, obviously. We're born to be in villages and families. So I don't think it's natural to be someone who isolates themselves. So where do you think this is this something that's taught? Is this something that's learnt? Where do you think it stems from? And we could probably partially blame social media right now, but we're quite a lot, we're not old, but we're middle-aged, so we've been around for a little bit. And where do you think our exposure to this type of isolation has come from?
Yeah, I think it goes back a long way, and it's being not just even before social media, it was portrayed generally in the media, in movies and things like that. You see the strong, the lone wolf character, the guy who overcomes everything by himself, who doesn't particularly need anyone, but everyone sort of needs him. That sort of lone wolf character, and I think that it sort of crosses over. It's similar to how we would. I was listening to the Manosphere episode as well, and how we were talking about there's those aspects of these guys are really disciplined and they have strong standards, and those aspects that overlap with stuff that's really as a man, you look for those things. You look to be that person who's disciplined, which is a great thing. We talk about it, lead yourself, be disciplined, have structure in your life. And there's those things, there's those aspects of it that overlap with what we talk about, but they actually turn it into something, or just drive this thought that it's actually when you're disciplined, you're doing it for yourself, and when you work hard, you're doing it for yourself, and you don't need anybody, and that's what strength is. When we know that's not what strength is. Strength is in the discipline, but you're not being disciplined for yourself. You're being disciplined so you be a better person for your own community. That's sort of a roundabout way of saying it, but I think I
think when I think about it, it's that whole stoicism, to be stoic, to be a man. There's, for the examples that I seen when I was growing up in the 90s, and it was a lot of the movies, a lot of the media, even my immediate family, the men in my family, although they they were social by not by choice, but because we're a family. So
Yeah.
we're quite a big family, so we did a lot of things together. But I also saw that need to be a stoic man and to be like I'm the figure it out kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like nothing's too hard for me. I'll do it. Like don't. And I've got a lot of those traits myself.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's quite toxic, to be honest, because it can be toxic. It's not automatically toxic, but the extreme version of that
Yeah.
can be where you don't let people in. You don't. If you're in a relationship, you end up. Instead of communicating, you formulate your own ideas about, let's say you have an issue within your relationship. Instead of communicating your side of things, you start thinking you know what your wife's thinking because you refuse to communicate. You isolate yourself, and
Yeah.
you think, instead of trying to seek someone out and get someone else's perspective, you're your own worst enemy, and it just becomes a snowball effect in your mind. And I look back to movies like Rambo, Terminator,
Yeah.
and what are some other great classics like any Bruce Lee movie,
Yeah.
Jackie Chan. Like these main characters, although they had people around them, they didn't need them. They were it. Like they didn't need anybody.
Yeah.
It was almost like a privilege to be within their sphere, within their aura.
Yeah.
And so I guess that could be part of it. Like that could be part of the way that we saw an ideal sort of masculine man was to be someone who's strong and doesn't need anybody, but strength doesn't come from just being a lone wolf or being that stoic figure that
Yep.
doesn't need anybody else, because we're stronger together, and we're stronger, when we lean on other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is actually, with this episode, it's opening my eyes up, because I'm still a little bit that way. I know a lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see by the end of this episode if my thought process and mindset around isolation, if I feel like I'm someone that does do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's where partially it stems from, and then obviously we can go into more of the social media side of things, the gaming and that. So maybe touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think like just to sum that all up, it's you get the whole confusing that emotional stoicism with actual strength. I think people see someone who's just like completely unaffected by emotion or doesn't show any emotion, and they think, oh, that guy's really strong. He's a strong guy. And that gets twisted into the idea that needing people makes you weak. And I think that's something that we've all thought, or at least convinced ourselves of at least once in our life. So social media. When I think of social media, I just think of like the red pill, the sigma male kind of thing.
Going monk mode. I've never heard that.
Going monk mode. I actually, yeah.
I can see what it means, but
Yeah,
I've never
just
heard
completely separating yourself from pretty much everyone and everything. That's that's what a monk is. Like they're completely separated from the world. Like you don't need anyone for anything.
Yeah, but I think that's not correct. Like a monk has a need for, for us being a monk in the Christian sense will be someone who's yearning for the relationship with God, right? So you're not alone. You're yearning for this relationship at a higher level. And like, I guess monks in Buddhism or whatever, they're looking to reach some spiritual realm. I don't really know what they do there, but it's not like let's go monk mode just to not need anybody.
Yes.
It's like, let's go monk mode to get a higher spiritual purpose.
Yeah, and I think that the monk, like the word monk in general, is just, in that sense, it's probably just meaning like separating yourself from the material world and material possessions. It's taking it that one step further, saying like, not only do you not need anyone, but you don't need anything either.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, the sigma, I haven't actually heard this word for a while. I used to hear it all the time, like a couple of years ago. Sigma.
I get in trouble for using it, eh?
You get in trouble? They think, why are you trying to be cool, Dad? Yeah.
Like, Dad, that was so last year.
Yeah. Yeah, just that idea of like you got the alpha.
Yeah.
who's like the leader, the loud, the dominant person. Then you got the betas who are like the followers of the alpha, and then the sigma's like that next step where he's not an alpha, but he's not a beta. He doesn't need anyone. He just his own self, and he gets his own. He doesn't get like he doesn't even need validation from having followers. He's just like a boss because he has that own strength within himself.
But then being called a Sigma is getting validation.
Yeah, it's a messed up system.
I actually wanted to go back because I skipped over this question.
Go for it.
Why do men disappear when they need people the most? I think you touched on it a bit.
Yeah, I think I might save that. I've got a good personal story about that.
Cool. I was gonna say I think I've got a couple of good personal stories too.
Yeah.
We'll save that for later.
It is so true. When I read that and sort of reflecting on, my own life, and we'll get to that like pretty shortly. I think just in this segment, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But the difference. Go.
Sorry, with the social media stuff, like I can see how it might be perceived as a way to be more connected, but it's like shallow friendships and connections.
Yes.
Because you're connected to way more people. I mean, I've never had like over 500 people in my friend group in my entire life.
Yeah.
But I've got 500 people on my social media. Not all of them are like liking my stuff or whatever, but I get like quite a few likes and views and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting this weird, like fake validation from people I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be fake, but it seems because it's just like a thumbs up or whatever. But I've never known that many people all at once in my life.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people. And I think that one thing that may be good that comes out of technology and social media, that is like the gaming aspect where people can connect and enjoy something that they like together and still have like conversations while they're doing it. There could be a good aspect to that of utilizing social media and technology through like the gaming, whether it be like Roblox or whatever, where I know some people jump on and they have entire friend groups that jump on at the same time, but they also spend time outside of gaming as well. So maybe could be a positive. I don't really know because I don't do that stuff. But
I suppose, what you're really getting at is that through social media, our connections to people have become quite shallow and very surface level. And even to the extent that social media is a mask that we put up of what we want the world to see of us. It's something, it's like we curate this image that we're happy to show. But I think true friendship is knowing someone deeper than that. You know the image that they want to show, but you also know deeper than that. You also know who they are behind the mask as well. And if you can do that through gaming and stuff like that, then that's great. As long as that's your end goal. Or social media is not bad. It can be bad, but if you can do that in some way through social media, for my mind, it'll be hard.
Yeah, I think so. But I'm trying to wrap my head around like what's the next step for us in the future, because what might be hard for us might not be hard for the next generation. Like our kids communicate differently, I think.
Yeah.
What I've seen. So we value face-to-face communication. I certainly do. I don't even like texting, so I'd rather call someone than text someone.
Yeah.
Or see someone face to face. But
in this generation, if you call them, they'll probably ignore your call and just like text you back, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I had that a couple of times with some parents I was trying to talk to tonight.
Yeah.
It would go straight to voicemail, and then I have to leave this weird message to make sure that they knew who was trying to call them. And then they got back to me. I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah, that part of that might be they're busy as well, and they just like, I'll text them when I get a chance.
Because Dee was telling me that it's something that people do now.
Yeah, definitely.
There's like an iPhone app thing that does it now.
Yeah, they'll just ignore the call and they'll just message the person and be like, they'll be more comfortable to like message it. Maybe that's because of like they don't like speaking, or they like have a bit of time to process what their response is going to be and stuff like that. Maybe
It'll be interesting to see what the next step is in terms of communication and like connection building and friendships and stuff like that. And as we move into the future with AI.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it'll come back, like back to more like face to face stuff. I think we have a tendency to go to, like, as I said, like human beings have a tendency to go to one extreme and find out that, oh, this isn't exactly what I thought it was, or this isn't benefiting us, so they'll just switch, and unfortunately they'll go back to the other extreme. But as long as you have balance as well. I mean, you only need, I personally, you say a lot of people, but you don't have many friends. I don't think you need that many friends. I don't think you need like one or two.
I'm comfortable with this many.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think like the truth is, for the average person, they only need like one or two really good friends that know them really well, that can really save your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like quality over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rest are just acquaintances and guys, like, you could have that like inner tight circle, and then you could have that like little bigger circle, which are like, these are the guys who I watch footy with, and go to men's group with, and do all this kind of stuff. And then you have that bigger circle, oh, these are the guys who I see from time to time, maybe my work colleagues and things like that.
So I was just picturing Jesus and his 12 disciples, and then his disciples have disciples, and his disciples
yes.
Just like, Jesus got these core 12 group of people that he teaches.
And when you bring up Jesus, I just wanted to sort of bring up this fact that we're created in an image of God, and there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and they're eternally connected as one, but they're also three distinct persons as well. That's a basic explanation of the Trinity.
Yep.
It's one of the mysteries of the gospel. But if the word Trinity doesn't appear in the Bible, but theologians from who are much smarter and much better at reading the Bible than I am have all agreed that this idea of the Trinity is all throughout, right from Genesis right throughout to Revelation, this idea of three in one. And it just, that's what it means in James, in the book of James, where it says God is love, because he exists in perfect love, in perfect community. And because we're created in that image. In Genesis 1 it says, let's create man in our image. It doesn't say my image. Let's create him in our image. So that, to me, we're created with a yearning and a need for love and community and for deep connection. I think that's inbuilt into our DNA and into our biology, and that's the reason why isolation is so dangerous, because it's a rejection of the image that we're created in. It's a rejection of our biology and our basic need to be loved and to be seen and to be cared for and to be known.
Amen. Love that. And that's, I think, I had a thought around, like, if I'm made in God's image, like obviously so are you, so is the next person, so we all are. So when you're treating someone else, like, treat them like you would Jesus or God, like, because Christ is within them. So that's what's actually helped me forgive a lot of past relationships with certain people, is understanding that Christ lives within them. So I need to, once I wrapped my head around that, I understood that, man, forgiveness is the most powerful thing I could give them, but also myself as well. I don't know where I was going with that. It just made me think about treating that I had.
Everyone's created in God's image. And treating them that way, and seeing them that way, and seeing like the mistakes they make, or the way they've treated you, as like, that's not who they were created to be.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, we wanted to touch on, we've gone on a bit of a tangent, and I think that's been good.
We always go on tangents.
Yeah.
It should just be called the Tangent Podcast.
Yeah, we should rename it. One rep max tangents. Yeah, we wanted to talk about the difference between solitude, because we've talked about solitude in previous episodes, like rising above the noise, and the difference between solitude and isolation. So, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah. So my definition, or my idea of what solitude is for me, it's taking a period of time where you can just disconnect. And solitude should be used as a way to recharge, especially like you and I are both introverted, so we need that time to recharge and gather our thoughts and re-energize with the Holy Spirit, and just be able to come back into life with new energy, new reborn thought process. And I think, to me, isolation is just like taking everything that you are and everything that you have and all your talents, all your skills, and hiding them away from the world, because it's more of a selfish act where if I isolate myself, I'm not going to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's like if I isolate myself, then there's no chance of people ridiculing me for whatever, and I don't have to open up to anybody, so I can put my walls up as high as I can and isolate, rather than going into solitude where you use it as a time of rejuvenation.
Yep.
And use it as a time where you can come back and just feel so much fresher, because we need to disconnect, but we don't need to isolate.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I 100% agree. I don't really have much more to add to that. Like, solitude is intentional. It's a healthy practice. Isolation is just a reactive, avoiding the realities of life, basically, and thinking that you can fix it yourself, but you can't.
That's a good one. Avoiding the realities of life.
Yeah.
Man, that's Are we going to talk about this more, or should we talk about?
You wanna go for it, bro?
Yeah, I know. It's just, I'm looking. You organize this podcast. I'm trying to.
We hadn't even passed the first point.
Oh, really?
We had point 1, bro.
Just what you said there about what did you say again?
I said solitude is healthy and intentional, and isolation is reactive and avoidant and avoiding the realities.
Yeah, that's life. The part, avoiding the realities of life. Reason why that resonates is because, for me, man, isolation and avoidance behavior always coincided with the pressures of life.
Yeah.
When life got hard, when I felt like I was, drowning in just the amount of things that I had to do.
Yeah.
Or the amount of responsibilities, or maybe a relationship breakdown or whatever.
Yeah.
I had this tendency to want to avoid it all.
Yeah.
And so I'd just isolate. But in that isolation, the mental health just declined, because when you're isolated, you feel like I can't get hurt by anyone externally.
Yeah.
But you forget about what's happening in your mind.
Yes.
And this hamster wheel of the thoughts and ideas and the negative flow-on effect that you have that kind of roots itself in your mental health.
Yeah.
And then it just like nothing, it's almost like just a black cloud just closing in on you, and it's got this hold on you because you're shutting yourself in, trying to avoid all of these tough situations or awkward situations or things that are uncomfortable. Yet if all you did was just open up a little bit, just to even one person, then you could let that light come in and just start slowly healing you one conversation at a time. Instead of like, in my experience in the past, when I've isolated, my mental health just declined severely. And it took that moment of courage to tell somebody about it. But that felt like the biggest mountain to climb out of.
Yeah.
To just say, like, I'm not okay, you know, and I don't know if that's because, you know, I don't know if I was brought up, but I had this idea where I should be able to fix things myself. And, you know, I created this mess, a mountain of things that I'm avoiding, so I should be able to get out of it, which isn't reality. It's not. But my brain would just think that way.
Yeah.
And so it took like a moment of vulnerability and courage to then take that step to talk to someone, which is why, like, whenever someone says I'm struggling, I don't just try and throw a quick fix and be like, oh, no, just do this or that, because, you know, the fact that they even said that they're struggling took a lot of mental energy to get there.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I resonate with that a lot, and particularly what you said about when the cloud and the darkness, when you shut yourself off to the world thinking that nothing can hurt me, but it's actually you are your own worst enemy in that moment. And you get stuck in this echo chamber because, you know, your thoughts are just going to get more and more dark and negative, you know, and even to the extreme where you can have like fascinations about suicide and things like that if it gets to that point. But having someone there, speaking to that one person, that accountability that can just say to you, hey, that's not true at all. Those thoughts aren't true. That's not what you are. That's not who you are. That's not who you created to be.
Yeah.
That can just speak truth into you and speak life into, and realign your thoughts. And that's what solitude is also. Even though solitude will be by yourself, that's what it's also meant to be about as well. It's about intentionally realigning your thoughts with like the Word of God and who you created to be, but having someone there and being able to open up is, you can just get stuck in that echo chamber of your own thoughts.
When you're in that space too, man, you're just telling yourself lies.
Yeah,
it's all lies. Like, I've been to that point where, like, the suicidal thoughts, even like the attempt to do it, and like the first thing you think about when you're not successful is like why did I do that? So much regret. Yeah. And it's the only way you get to that place is by just continuously listening to the lies of like, you're not worthy, or they think this about you. People hate you because of this, that, and the other. They like, you know, you're not living up to people's expectations, and it's just all, and like, it's all lies.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, I'm quite like passionate about that subject, especially when it comes to, because like I'm great. Like I've been able to figure out the way I think, my thought process. Like I've got a good relationship with God, where I lean on Him above all else.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why I go into that solitude place, is to get a closer relationship. So it's never even like a thought anymore. But thinking back to the person that I was, I'm like, man, it was so easy for me to get to that place because I was just listening to myself, lying to myself constantly about how hard my situation was.
Yeah.
But then you need just to get a little bit of perspective once you're out of it, and you realize, like, man, I could have done the stupidest thing in the world and left like 3 kids at the time, 3 kids with no dad, like, you know, and and that was all just because of like over like small things, like not talking to someone, having a little bit of a relationship breakdown that is now flourishing and is great. But at the time, you just think the worst. You know, I thought the worst.
Yeah. It can be like that. Like, and the dangerous thing about it is you don't just go from happy to thinking the worst. It's a little bit by a little bit over time, and it just sneaks up on you.
Yeah, for sure. The more that like that feeling of guilt and you let in, or that feeling of disparity, and
then the harder and harder it gets to open up to someone, which is why, like, you know, you got to make it a regular thing, make it intentional, make the conversations that you have with people intentional and plan it. Plan to have those conversations and call up your mate and say, hey, I want to chat to you tomorrow, and it's going to be a serious conversation.
Yeah, it's true.
Even if there's nothing going on. I do that now. I think I call up some friends and say, hey, I just want to sit down and have a chat next week. Let's book something in. And it's not that I particularly have something going on. I just think it's good for you, even if when you're in a good place.
Yeah.
It's still good to do those things and build those habits, so that when you do come to the dark times and come to the times where you're negative and questioning yourself, that you've built those relationships already.
Yeah, I did that today actually with one of my best mates, Simon.
Yeah.
I did strongman with him, but for some reason I just thought of him. Like, haven't spoken to him in for a while. Like, I'd say 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But we have the type of relationship where we're always close. We actually, like, his birthday is a day before mine, and so we're the same age and everything.
Yeah, no.
And I was like, I should call him. Called him up, and it was just like we had seen each other yesterday. Had like a great conversation. It was good, and then just walked away from that conversation feeling good. That like, I checked up on a mate. Like, not that he's like suicidal or anything like that, but I just checked up with him just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
And I also felt good to be able to, just let him know that, how life is, and have a conversation. So it's important. I think I need to do it more.
Yeah.
I need to do it more often.
Yeah.
With different people.
100%. All right. So we talked about quite a lot now. We covered quite a lot. We talked about how social media, how culture defines not needing anyone as being strong. Stoicism, emotional stoicism is defined as being strong. We talked about Sigma males and going monk mode and all that through social media. Talked about solitude and isolation. And I think we've sort of defined what the problem, I think, is pretty well. Do you want to move on to I think we might have even gone a bit into our next segment, which was like the real world consequences, like what does isolation actually do to a man? And we talked about having that echo chamber effect, and your thoughts become your truth when there's no one around to challenge them. You got to have someone there who challenges your thoughts, who's going to call out your negative thinking and your negative self-talk as well.
I think I know why I'm going off track, is because I don't have the same notes as you. It's all good. I can bounce off what you got.
That's all right. You don't have the same notes as me.
No, because what I'm looking at, I can't see what you're talking about, but that's all good.
Okay.
We'll just keep going, keep flowing.
No worries. Let's go.
I'll bounce off you.
Well, you carried on to the next segment,
Sorry,
which was good. I think in this, you told a personal story, which was pretty powerful, and I have a very similar story, but it's it's one where I actually sought professional help as well. So I think that's important, because I think men are something like 50 or 60% less likely to seek professional help when they need to, and even less likely to seek I don't know how to say it, non-professional help. You know what I mean? Just reach out to someone. They're even less likely to just reach out to someone saying I need help, and very unlikely to seek professional help. And I just wanted to say that there's absolutely no shame, and it's sometimes a little bit easier because you don't know someone and you got a professional relationship with you. Obviously, there's a monetary aspect to it, but I had a relationship breakdown when I was younger. I actually had a few unhealthy relationships, and I basically had this one relationship, public, everyone knew about it, all my friends and stuff like that. Made lots of mistakes in that broke down, and then I pretty much just sort of got counseled through that, and then jumped into another relationship, and made even more mistakes and some of like the pretty much the exact same mistakes kind of thing. And after that, and then but there was a lot of like mind play, manipulation and stuff like that through the breakup. And it just messed with me in like quite a big way. You know, I was pretty young, like only like in my early 20s kind of thing. And you know, the kind of person I was in my early 20s was like give my all to that relationship in terms of time and investment and stuff like that. And, you know, even money, like, you know, and ended up just being in a really dark place after that relationship breakdown. And I resonate with some of the stuff I'd said at the start, where it's like, these guys look normal. They go to work, they have colleagues, they have conversations, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they post up photos of what they're doing and stuff like that. It looks normal. You wouldn't know unless you actually specifically, you know, ask the question, like probably like, you know, are you okay? Do you have anything you want to say? Like really sort of dig into it. That was me. I was doing all the normal stuff. I was part of a Christian group at uni. I was going to church every Sunday on the worship team. I was, you know, still living at home with my brother and my mum, and had, from the outside, had quite a good, it looked like I had quite a lot of support and had quite a lot of support networks, but I was too afraid to actually reach out to someone and tell someone the truth. And even though, like, you know, they knew that I was going through this sort of relationship breakdown and stuff like that, I pretended like it was fine, like it wasn't really affecting me, to be, you know, like everything we said, you just be that person, like, I don't need anyone, I don't want to admit to any kind of weakness. And the fact that I was embarrassed as well, because these were mistakes that I'd already made and then just done exact same thing again. And I didn't want to tell anyone, and that's why I sort of asked a friend who I knew had like seen like a psychologist before and had gone to a Christian psychologist. I said, who did you actually go to? And they were really cool. They had no judgment. They didn't ask me any questions about what is it you want. It's like, this is the guy. I even tried to go to the doctor and get a referral, but I didn't pass the whatever test they had about, you know, whether you actually have depression or not. But inside it was dark times, and then it was pretty cool because I probably did about 4 sessions with him, this Christian psychologist, and and it was only like, it was a short time, but it allowed me to get a new perspective, and he really spoke, you know. And I was even thinking like how embarrassed or how shameful I felt about the things that I'd done, and how he even talked to me about, how do you think that God feels? He asked me, like, how do you think God feels about this? And I was like, well, obviously he wouldn't be happy, and that's wrong as well. Like, you know, God, he sees you when you're in Christ. He looks at you and he sees Christ, like he sees Jesus. You know, you've put off the old self and you've put on the new self, which has been renewed in the knowledge of, in the image of its creator. It says that in Colossians. And that was probably in the background of I never said that out loud, but in the background of my head, I was thinking, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve to be on the worship team. I don't deserve to, you know, be in church and putting a smile on my face and things like that. That was probably an underlying thing in my consciousness, even though I wasn't like expressing it or saying it. And he really helped me work through thoughts like that, simply just by asking questions. And if I'd say something that didn't align, he'd just realign it for me. And I'm always thankful that I did that. And I'd always encourage anyone who's going through something, if you have the means, and if you if you can make that leap into actually getting professional help, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah. Powerful story, and I think I've just got a couple of questions around what were you feeling at the time that prevented you from, I guess, speaking about it to, I guess, your friends and family? Was it just embarrassment, or did it go deeper than that?
Well, there was quite a lot of layers to it. It was embarrassment, it was shame, it was what will they think of me, and it was also that I don't think I was really the kind of person who opened up. I used to hide behind a lot of jokes and sarcasm and humor and put up that sort of that wall or that mask. I think wearing the mask of the sarcastic like Joker who's easygoing and nothing really affects me because I just have this relaxed attitude towards life. To take that off and show my true self was really scary. Too scary for me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you use that mask as like a tool for avoiding your real feelings and showing people who you really are. It's interesting why, and I don't even think this applies to just men, but like why as people we feel the need to hide our true selves.
Well, if you show your true self, this is what I think sometimes. If you show your true self and someone rejects you, they've rejected you. But if you go around wearing this mask of whatever and they reject that, it's like, okay, they've just rejected that mask. They haven't actually rejected me.
So there's like this need to grow past the fact that someone's opinion of you isn't actually about you. It's really about their perception of who you are.
Yeah.
I think when you can come to that place, and it's taken me a long time, like I'd say I'm pretty authentic majority of the time. I say majority because I can't tell you when I'm not, because I always just feel like the same person no matter what.
Yeah.
And I probably say some things that out of left field and probably come across certain ways, but I think the only way I can not have any sort of anxiety about how people perceive that is, it's like that's their perception of me, not me. Because maybe some things that I have said on one day could be slightly different to the next day, because I'm ever evolving and my thoughts about things are always changing because I'm always learning. And if I was tied to a certain person that I think I am, or I post on social media, or I give to the public, or the type of person I am on stage, if I tied who I was to that idea, I feel like I would definitely be a bit more hurt by people's opinions. You know what I mean? And but I think going through all the things that I went through, and I know going through the things that you went through, have on the other side built such a more level-headed man. Like I'd consider you someone who's spiritually aligned, who, like, you know, I see like mentally aligned, physically, but that took some breaking down to get to that. I believe, and I believe for myself too. Like I needed to be stripped back. I needed to go through the fire, you know.
Yeah. In
order to come out on the other side as the person I am, with, you know, the patience that I have, and I'm not done yet. You know, I'm not. I won't be done till I die, really, because I'm always seeking that next version of me and leveling up. But I think you need to go through tough times, but you need to endure them too. You need to understand that, like, right now might be the worst, what you think is the worst time of your life that you could ever go through. But I promise you, if you just hang on for dear life and just cling to somebody, cling to God, cling to something that's gonna get you through the other side. Because on the other side of that, the person that you become, if you can endure that hardship, and if you can, just learn through it, like that person is so worth meeting. You don't sell yourself short, and I'm glad I didn't. I like the way that I tried to end my life didn't work out, because then the person I am today would never have come to life,
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you were able to seek help and it worked for you. I seeked help and didn't work for me. But two different types of people, right? But I do encourage people to obviously find ways to help themselves through this time. And I just thought it was interesting to hear like that, the reasons why you weren't speaking is the same reasons why I wasn't speaking to people.
Yeah.
I feel like across the board for everyone, it's probably the same emotions that are triggered.
Yeah, it's common, like shame, embarrassment, fear, not wanting to be a burden to people, like not wanting to put your burdens, your worries on other people, thinking that you're doing them a favor when that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously that was hiding through that time you were isolating yourselves, even though you were going to church. I think emotionally you were probably isolating yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because you can be like, when I was going through my tough time too, I wasn't like just in my room doing nothing. Like I still had to provide for my family, but you emotionally isolate.
Yeah.
So you can be out there doing all the things and people think you're great. I don't think there's many signs. Like I never told someone that I felt that way, and it was just like the instant action to end it all. But emotionally, I was distant, and people could tell, obviously, that you're emotionally shut off. But yeah, emotional isolation is probably the biggest danger, rather than just isolating in general, because that's something that no one can see.
Yeah.
That emotional isolation.
Yeah, and that emotional isolation is like particularly tricky because no one can see it. They think everything's fine. You put up this wall, you put up the masks of everything's all good. And if they can tell something's not right, no one wants to assume the worst.
No, but I don't know. When I read people, I can sort of see that something's not 100%. Not that I know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you can tell that, like, when somebody's not all there, like, spiritually, mentally,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. What about we talked a lot about the dangers of isolation and the negative side of it. Let's switch to the positive. Let's switch to what real community looks like and how to build it, and what distinguishes real brotherhood and real community from just like, this is my gym bro, or this is my work colleague. What is it that sort of puts those two things apart?
Well, how about you tell me what it is? I feel like I spoke a lot. So what do you think it is?
Well, I'm asking the questions now.
All right, I'll go give you one.
Yeah,
I'll give you a bit of a story, because this is the way I can conceptualize it. So when I moved over to Australia from New Zealand, when I came from New Zealand, my experience was like that village mentality, family. It's a massive thing. Like, material things weren't the biggest deal.
Yeah.
It was all about community, sharing, like food or whatever. Like, one person will go fishing or whatever and bring back a bunch of fish to share with everyone in the family, and all these functions and get-togethers, and sports was a big thing. So I had this massive sense of community. And then when I came over here, and even now, I felt this massive disconnect from culture, from family, from community, and more of a drive towards doing better in life financially. And so what I've seen with quite a lot of Māori and Pacific Island families that move over from New Zealand, we go from this tight community aspect to then coming over here and working a lot more. Well, actually not even working a lot more, but valuing what you can get from working more. Because we actually work more hours in New Zealand, but we still found time for community. But more valuing like how much you can earn and all the money you can gain, and then losing connections. I've got a cousin that lives literally 10 minutes from me, and I don't ever see him. I've got a sister that lives like 40 minutes from me, and parents that live 40 minutes. I don't really see them unless there's an actual need to. So what I've had to do is I had to actually build my own community through things that I do, through church, through sports, through business. And it sort of made me realize that the community that you build doesn't just have to be by blood. It can be any person that brings value to you in your life, and you can also do the same to theirs. Like, that's how you build a healthy community dynamic. And it doesn't always have to be spending a lot of time with each other. Because what I found is, like, with the family and the cultural community that I grew up in, is it was by proximity. We're always in each other's faces. Always.
Yeah.
So that's how the community and the relationships were built. But now I built relationships in my community based on like value and the enjoyment of time that we have, rather than just because we live close together and like that's just what we do. It's more like I value like this relationship. I value you as a person. I value what I can learn from you, and I value like just the friendship, rather than just because we see each other at church a lot. You know what I mean? So I think community should be built intentionally. And it's important to have community. It's important to have people that you can rely on, and not just rely on like the community that's been given to you by proximity.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But then that proximity is also like important for you to be intentional with that proximity. And as we sort of spoke about, I don't remember if we were speaking about this before we started recording the podcast or during the podcast, but we were talking about social media and texting and communicating in the different ways. Was that before the podcast?
No, it was like the social media part of the podcast.
Oh yeah. But yeah, being like actually showing up to these things. You know, if like we've got a good friendship and we really value each other, but if we weren't intentional, because we'd been talking about doing something. I just realized this. We've been talking about doing something for a couple of years before we actually did something. We were like,
I think that's our personality.
Yeah, we were just like, oh, we should do something. Like we should start like another connect group or another small group, and it would be about man and community and stuff like that. And we didn't do something until we actually were intentional. We said, let's look at this date, like whatever it was, the 23rd of February or whatever it was, our first recording. And let's lock it in and let's do it. And then it became like a non-negotiable for us. And, you know, I'm sure Dee knows, Katie knows, every second Thursday we are recording the podcast. And I leave, this is the time I leave home, and she's got to be there because, you know, putting the kids to bed. And even this afternoon she got she had a hair appointment, I think, in the afternoon, and when like her hair appointments are getting longer and longer. It used to be like 2 hours, now it's like 3.5 hours. She came home, she hadn't even finished drying her hair yet. Her hair was still wet, and she's like, oh, I just came home so you could leave for the podcast. I'm like, sweet. But yeah, being intentional, actually creating, you know, you said you know you can live close to people, but creating that proximity and actually being face to face, I think is a really important thing for people. I mean, texting, like I know the younger generation, they prefer texting and calling and, you know, speaking over the chat and over games and stuff like that, but actually looking at someone face to face, being able to read their body language, their facial feature, their facial expressions and their hand gestures. There's so much in that that I think the younger generation are losing. They're losing the ability to sort of communicate properly, and
I agree.
and it's just kind of sad because they spend so much time just texting, and if it's not can't be put into an emoji or a GIF, it's like how do I communicate this kind of thing.
There's nothing more powerful than like shared experiences, especially if they're tough, you know, to build a friendship. And maybe the kids these days might be missing out on that unless they're in sports or something. But I feel like if you're able to have as like many shared experiences as possible, the friendship builds stronger connections, specifically if the experience is challenging. Because then you sort of get to understand who's got your back and how you can best like help someone, or how you can feed off each other to overcome challenges. Which is why I think like for kids, sports is really important, team sports in particular.
Yeah.
Because it helps them build friendships. It challenges them. It has them all working together towards a common goal, and it can sometimes lead to lifelong friendships.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I know a few. I've well, not for me, but like a few of my friends still like catch up with their old footy mates who they grew up with and they played with and stuff like that. I think team sports is a big thing because it's intentional. It's something that's like, generally if it's a non-negotiable for most families. Turn up to the game, get there, like show up for your team, and instilling those kinds of values as well. But they're having fun at the same time, but they're building those communication skills and those skills of making friends and doing that. But they don't realize they're doing it because they think in their mind, like, your little kids and that, they think in their mind they're just there to play a sport. But they're getting so much more out of it than they realize.
That's the beautiful part about it. And I was just thinking too, like, sports for us as a family like brings majority of my family together.
Yeah,
I wouldn't see my parents all that much if they didn't come and watch my kids play rugby league.
Yeah,
or all my kids wouldn't see them much. And it's not because the relationship is bad; it's just because they live what seems like forever away, even though it's not even far. It's like around where you live, actually like 5 minutes from where you live.
Oh, really?
So not far at all. But it feels like just that extra effort to get there. Whereas when there's this like reason to come together other than just seeing each other, then like you can see the community aspect of the rugby league game of the day start to build, and everyone looks forward to footy season because we all get together and sometimes share a meal or whatever.
Yeah, and those little small communities that you build, the sporting teams, and then for us it would be like the men's groups and the church associated groups, and they're like I see those as the starting point, in many ways, because that's where you get that initial, like, it's like what we were talking about before, like that's your like wider circle.
Yeah.
And then you got to actually make the effort and be the one that tries to bring them in, and let's get these guys into like the inner circle now. Let's share a little bit. Let's be a little bit vulnerable ourselves, and that might prompt some vulnerability from them. And I've been running this men's group for a few years now, and lots of people have started out there who I'd consider like regulars and stuff like that. They've sort of they started coming and they're regulars and really consistent, and then stuff happens and they go away, and now we've got like the dynamics of the group have changed quite a lot over the years, but I really feel like a closeness like to those original guys as well, like Jono and Elko and Gary and Nick Stroyer. I feel like a closeness to them because of those, like you said, like those experiences that we had, and then the times that we shared together, and sort of building that, like they were like the foundation of that group kind of thing, and building it. Even Travis was like a very much a regular person in those early days of building that group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel a closeness to them that I could go up and share what's going on in my life, and I think they would feel also comfortable sharing any things that's going on in their life that they're going through, that they're struggling with, that they need prayer for, and that's where the real sort of community is built. It's in being vulnerable and allowing someone to know you, like to know you, who you are underneath the bravado and the mask and the jokes and the sarcasm and everything, allowing people to know who you really are. And that's how I feel even when we're in church and there's like 200 people in the building, and I look around and it's just like lights, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like there's a light, there's a guy, I know him really well, he knows me really well, I know there's Les, I know him, there's Elko. Yeah, we're all connected because of Men's Group, and that's something that you have to be intentional about, and it involves creating a culture of openness and sharing, but also being non-judgmental as well. Yeah. And lately it's been really good. I told Pastor Kim, I was like, the Men's Group is going off, like, and even like last week, I don't know, did you go last week?
No, I decided to have the day off.
I didn't end up going last week either, and they were all like, oh, thanks, it was a great discussion last night.
Yeah, I felt like I missed out on something.
Yeah, I felt like I missed out, but like in the past, that would really bother me. I don't know why. I was like, oh man, when I'm there, and because I was a leader, like when I'm there, we don't have good discussions, but like when I'm not there, they were like, oh, that was awesome last night. I was like, how come it's only awesome?
That's you, bro.
It's awesome when I'm not there. I feel like it's me. Yeah. But now it's just like, I'm just so happy that that's become something, in a place where they can come and have deep discussions, and I think like, even though we get new guys, quite a few new people, I think they've settled into it really nicely and they see the value in it. Yeah. And I just wish I could sort of communicate somehow the value of that to like the wider people in church, because there's lots of men out there who are, like you said, you can read them. You go speak to them after church, like some of these guys are broken. Yeah. And 100%. And I even talked to one guy and he told me exactly what was happening, and he was describing, like, he didn't go into any details, but he was saying, oh, now is the season, I'm just going to pull back, I'm just going to take stock and sort of be, I guess, like by myself and reflect on things. Yeah. And I suppose there is intentionality in that, but it also scares me for him. Yeah. Because I don't want him to think that he can do this alone. Yeah. And he may have a good network around him and things like that. But, I was inviting, like, come along to Men's Group. He wasn't quite ready, he said. And I'm like, I'll meet up with you one-on-one for a coffee and stuff like that. And I was not going to say who it is. But, yeah, that, and I just wonder, like, I didn't find that I'd spoken to him a few weeks in a row, and like I'd sensed like there was something, but I just found out, and it's just how many guys out there are just suffering in silence, thinking that, oh, now I just need to step back and take time for myself, and you actually need to step forward and step into community.
100%. And I think sometimes some people are intimidated by having to go to a group, and I've kind of started having more one-on-one catch-ups with people. Like,
yeah, I've noticed that. Yeah.
I went and caught up with Travis. I went and caught up. Like, I mean, I knew Travis, but I didn't know Travis. And like, particularly because he was going to be spending a bit of time with my son and doing the sound desk stuff and that. I was like, it's probably important that I get to know Travis, Jeremiah, like a few of those guys. And then I was like, well, who else can I go and connect with. And there's a couple of lads from the men's group that I'm like, I wouldn't mind catching up with them and just not even like for any particular reason other than just to be a ear, just listen. Because I feel like I actually want to ask you a question. When you were going through the time where you probably felt like you were the most vulnerable and the most and probably in the darkest spot where you're hurting the most, what's something that you would have liked someone to do or say, or is there anything that you can think of that you would have liked someone to do for you in that moment, in that time?
I think probably just acknowledge, just say, I can see you hurting, bro. I can see you hurting, and
bro.
You got a friend in me, kind of thing.
That's the answer I thought you'd give to, because that's how I feel. Even now, sometimes I just want someone to just know how, like, and it's impossible. No one can read your mind, but sometimes you just want someone to make the effort to reach out to you and just not say, "Are you okay?" but like have a conversation and open up a space where you're comfortable to be a little bit more vulnerable, and also maybe like call you out on maybe some of the things you might be feeling.
Yeah.
Or be like, I don't know, I could probably say something like, "Hey man, I've noticed that you've been struggling. I've noticed that you might be a bit distant or whatever. Like, maybe you could be going through a few things with like your mental health. Like you may be struggling. Is there anything that I can help with?" And it's not you saying that you are. It's like, maybe I get the sense that you could be. Is there anything, like, obviously you've got to get to know them a bit more, get to know their story. But I feel like doing something like that would be pretty important. And the more men that can do that and have that honest conversation, the more lives we'll save.
Yeah.
And I've known a lot of people that have just killed themselves because they didn't speak. And that's the most tragic thing ever. I mean, I think Dee's told me this before. I don't know. I think her mum learned it from a psychologist or something. But if you if you're a father and you end up committing suicide, your kids are like dramatically more likely to do the same because they think it's okay.
Wow.
Which I don't know if like the exact percentage, but apparently it's quite high. So, man, like we need to help not just our men, but just people in our communities, just to have a open space where they can feel safe and okay to express themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's the last thing you want, man, is like a next generation of people thinking it's okay to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's important to stress that you don't need a whole bunch of people and followers to reach out. You just need one person.
Yeah.
You just need that one person who you feel comfortable with and that is willing to hear you out. And at the end of the day, you just want to be heard because you want to be seen. And you want someone to see what's really going on behind everything.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a bit of a challenge for everyone. Unless there's anything else you want to add, the challenge is going to be kind of like the ending thing.
I think I probably just want to end on a bit of a higher note.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the challenge is going to do that, or maybe, there's some words of wisdom from scripture you can bring out, or I don't know, just for me, it's like, life is worth living. You're worthy of so much more than you think you are. There's always someone that's there for you, no matter what. And I think it's important to realize that our time here is not that long. So chances are the things that you're probably wound up about, the things that you're depressed about, upset about, not saying that they don't matter, but in the long run, in the time that we have, like, is it worth like giving all that energy to? Is it worth like ending your life over? Is there something out there that's probably more worth your time to think about? I don't know. But life is absolutely worth living. Life is beautiful. God is great. Like, all you have to do is go outside and see the sunrise to just see how beautiful and how massive God is. And if you can lean on Him rather than your own understanding, then I think you'll find that you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, or you'll see the light through the clouds, because He's the answer.
Yeah, amen. I would say, just add to that, like, don't blame yourself. Don't heap guilt on yourself. Just try to work through it. And the only way you're going to work through it is with someone. And I heard this cool quote the other day, is that we'll never be the best version of ourselves by ourselves. We always need someone. We're built for community. It's inbuilt within us to receive and to give love to everyone around us. It's more blessed to give than to receive, in fact. And that sort of leads on to the challenge. The challenge is pretty simple. If you're listening to this, the challenge is just simply reach out to one man this week, someone that you know, and not just to talk about sport, but to actually properly check in, to actually intentionally contact that person and say, hey, I want to have a chat, and it's going to be real. I just want to check in. I just want to make sure everything's all good. And even if it is, let's just have a chat, because that's not only good for them, that's good for you as well. That is, what this life's all about. And if you have a friend, and if you're listening to this and you have someone who's going through some stuff, share this episode with them. There's a lot of I've been encouraged by this episode. I've been built up by this conversation, even just sitting here and having it with Les, just hearing some of the stuff that he said tonight. I'm hearing it for lots of this stuff for the first time. And me and Les are good friends. So it's something that, there's always a deeper way to get to know someone. And it's in that space that you become connected. And it's in that space that you can find, I think, joy and love and healing as well. When you're connected to people and you're connected to community, you don't need a whole heap of people. You just need that one or two really close ones.
Yeah, needing a community, needing a brotherhood isn't weak. It's not weak to want to be around people. It's not weak to need others to rely on or lean on. At the end of the day, we've got to build our community together, be better together, be stronger together. That's the one reason why we've created One Rep Max. It's not just the opportunity for Al and I to just sit here and talk and hear each other's point of views, but it's an opportunity to build a community for men in particular that need it, and for not just our immediate community, but our wider community. So if you are struggling, if you are needing help, you're needing that extra hand up, reach out, because we're a brotherhood at the end of the day. One Rep Max isn't just here for the good times. It's for the times that we struggle. It's the times that we feel like we can't do it anymore, because at the end of the day, that's when the real you shows up. And that is your 1 rep max.